The Nebraska Cornhuskers won the first ever college basketball crown last season out in Las Vegas as they eclipsed the 20-win mark for the second year in a row. Do lose a couple of their top scorers. In fact, the top two, and Bryce Williams, one of the leading scorers in the league, along with Juwan Gary. But they get Rienk Mast back, which was a huge loss last year. Remember, he missed the season due to injury, did really well in the portal, including bringing in Bryce Sanford from Iowa. And we're joined now by the head coach of the Cornhuskers, Fred Hoiberg. Coach, it was an unusual year, I think you could say, last year, but man, it ended on a positive note. I mean, to go out to Vegas and to win that tournament, to be the first ever winners of the crown. I know it wasn't the tournament you wanted to be in. I get all that. But how can you use that, or can you use that to build?
Yeah, for sure, Dave. First of all, great seeing you guys.
Likewise.
It was a season of runs. We had a great winning streak, 6 in a row, where Burke Buchnagel was probably the best player on the floor against Ohio State. He gets hurt about 30 seconds to go and unfortunately never regained form. I never thought he got healthy fully after that. Went through a tough losing streak to end the season. But to win that championship at the end, to see the joy and the smile on our guys' faces and cut down the nets and win that championship did give us positive momentum heading into the offseason. And, you hit it on the head, Dave, when you talk about we're going to miss Bryce and Juwan a lot. Those guys were great, and some of the other players that we lose from last year's team. But to get Rienk Mast back on the floor, to see everything that he can do for our group, his ability to stretch it. He led us in assists 2 years ago. He led us in rebounding. He was second in scoring. And just, when you look at the spacing and the gravity that he provides and pulling the big away from the basket, that just opens up things for everybody. We didn't shoot the ball nearly as well a year ago. We led the league 2 seasons ago. Last year, I think we were 13th in three-point shooting. So we addressed that in a big way in the offseason, by bringing, first of all, retention, getting Connor back. Sam, which was a tough sell to his mother to get him back. But
she just wanted to see him get better coaching.
Yeah, exactly. But to get some of the other players we brought in. So, I've really been impressed with our guys. They've been working their tails off. And, we're going to see what we got with a very tough first game. We play BYU, top 5 team in the nation, coming up a week from Saturday. It'd be a great test for our guys. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves.
You mentioned the shooting, and you had talked about that at the end of last year. Hey, that's something we got to address. Tell me a little bit about some of the guys you brought in that you think can help you there.
Yeah, and another one that was with us last year that we redshirted was Braden Frager, a player from Lincoln. Came in as a 17-year-old, made the decision to redshirt him, and we had a tough decision. We were actually going through a losing stretch. We thought about stripping that red shirt, but he had a great year of development. Really athletic, and a guy that can flat out stroke it. And then, Connor, as I talked about, Asijan, I think one of the best shooters in the league. Bryce Sanford was a 40% three-point shooter a year ago. Jamarcus Lawrence, we get back, who's coming back. Great addition. Knows the culture, know everything that we're all about. 39% three-point shooter. Kendall Blue was a 41% three-point shooter at St. Thomas last year. So, we've had lineups where we can put 5 guys that are legitimate threats out there from the perimeter. It makes you so much harder to guard when you have that.
What do you think? You lost one guy that could get some buckets. You lost another guy it was a rebounding machine. Which one is tougher to replace as you go into this?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can say one. Both of them we're going to miss a lot. Bryce was one of those guys. You could put the ball in his hands, and he could just flat out and go get you a basket. This year's team, it's going to be a lot more movement. It's going to look a lot more like it did 2 years ago. Keisei Tominaga, who played with Rienk, one of the things people, I think, forget about with him is he was a great shooter, one of the best in the country, but he was also an elite cutter. And he was second in the league in 2-point field goal percentage. And that's because the lane was open, and he could cut, and Rienk could find him. So, it's going to be more of that type of group. And then Juwan just did everything for us. We'll really miss him. He was the MVP of that Crown tournament at the end of the season. So it's going to be by committee. You can't just replace those guys with one player.
Juwan was just a dog. He just played so hard and was such a good leader for you guys. What about your defense? That's been pretty good the last few years and giving you a chance, and can you get those guys to play at that level again?
That's the question with this team. And I've got an unbelievable defensive coach in Nate Lenzer. He does a great job of getting our guys ready, putting in a system that is a full team defensive system. The one thing about it, if you have one guy out of position, you're in trouble. And our guys have been growing. Again, we're going to have a great test, and we're going to learn a lot. As you remember, Bruce, as a coach, you learn so much about your team the first time you play somebody other than yourselves, and then you can go back and teach and correct and get better and grow. But this team defensively, I'll start with Rienk. When you have a defensive big that understands pick and roll defense and what you want to take away, trying to get the pocket taken away. You got Jamarcus back, who's a very good on-ball individual defender. Sam, is one of the better defenders in the league. So you've got a lot of guys, that have been in the system. You get guys back, and we're still growing, still learning. But again, I like where we are.
What does it say about your program that Jamarcus transfers out and then transfers back? I mean, it's such a weird time we live in, but tell me a little bit about that and kind of what it says about the relationships that he had with you and vice versa.
Yeah, it's the understatement of the day.
It's a weird time.
It's a weird time. But yes, to get Jamarcus back was huge for us. He was such a big contributor to what we did that year that we went into the tournament. And when you look back at Jamarcus's journey, he was kind of a spot rotation guy that first year. Sam was out of the rotation. Then you lose Jawan, you lose Bandamel, and all of a sudden they're thrust into big roles. And that's really where they established themselves. And then he had a great sophomore year. And then, losing him was a big loss for us. But, in talking to him when he went into the portal, I think he missed a lot of things about the way that we did things. And to get him back, in a lead guard role, he can play off the ball. He knows our defense. And, it's just he's grown. He played for Archie. I love Archie. He does a lot of great things. And you can see he's a better leader than when he was here before, and that's the evolution over the course of your career and now going into a senior season. But it's been great to have Jamarcus back.
You leave home and you find out it's not always better at another place, right? But I talked in the studio. We talked, why did he leave? It didn't make sense. I talked to you about it. It was crazy, but it's good you have him back, and it helps to have veterans that have been in your system. That helps you with the leadership, all that stuff.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters is, we got him back.
Yes.
And, it's, again, he's been his consistency is what I've really admired about him since we've had him back. And, he brings it every day. And we're going to need that. Your lead guard, you have to have that communication extension, obviously, of me out there on the floor. And, getting Jamarcus back, another guy, Cale Jacobson, who was as important as anybody in our Crown run, getting Cale back as a guy that can initiate offense for us. Kendall Blue, Sam, all those guys can initiate. But maybe as important as anything is having a front court guy like Rienk that can get us into our offense, especially when we're seeing pressure. That just takes a lot of heat off of everybody.
Excited to watch this team. Fred, always great to see you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Fred Hoiberg, head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Take a look at the schedule ahead for Nebraska. As Coach was mentioning, there's an exhibition game against BYU that doesn't show up here, but again, challenging non-conference. Oklahoma, New Mexico team that's going through some transition, but certainly a good team a year ago. Obviously, the matchup with Creighton is one that always creates incredible enthusiasm in the state of Nebraska. You see some of the other marquee games, including a December visit to Illinois, a game where things should be buzzing in Champaign. Some of the marquee home games, including a return visit from the Fighting Illini along with Michigan State and Purdue, Andy.
Well, and Nebraska's expecting maybe 15,000 fans for that exhibition game against BYU. And one player that may have to guard A.J. Debinsa, who could be the #1 draft pick in June, is Rienk Mast, who is now healthy. Look at that.
Finally.
Big smile. Took a while. Sam Hoiberg, without a headband, didn't recognize him.
Not surprising.
Yes. You surprised?
Happens a lot.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
He goes incognito on campus without the headband. Rienk, how you feeling?
Really good. Yeah. If you spend so much time doing rehab, you need to feel good. But, yeah, knee is doing a lot better and really excited for this season.
You've seen him play now. What do you think?
He's better than ever, honestly. I mean, I don't remember him shooting this well before he got hurt. And I don't think that's normal where you take 12 months off of shooting a basketball and you come back shooting it better. But Rienk's a professional, and he's going to help us a lot this year.
And just following up on that, what does having Rienk back on your squad, on the floor with you guys, because you go back a couple seasons ago, Coach Hoiberg loves to play through that .5 position. So what does having Rienk back on the floor for you mean to the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it opens up a completely, new bag of plays for one, but, just the spacing he brings, being able to shoot the ball and his passing ability. We can cut off of him, and it'll pull the 5 out of the paint. Last year, the 5s would be sitting in there because our 5s didn't shoot it as well. But, yeah, he just brings so much to the table. And then even defensively, he's an amazing talker. He's always in the right spot, and I think people don't realize how much help he is on that end as well.
And, Rienk, your first year in the Big Ten, you had a great season. Last season, you had to sit out with the injury. But how much did you learn from watching the entire year, having an entire year in the film room with the coaches and whatnot to help you propel you going into this season?
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially how big just having a voice is. Felt like I've always led through example, but definitely been working a lot on my voice as a leader and trying to help those new guys. Now with this new transfer portal era, we get new guys every single year, and just bringing them in and having a voice, trying to teach them and get them caught up to speed quickly. That's been big, and I definitely worked on that last year.
All right, so Sam's wearing these golf socks right now, kind of looking like he's a club pro, but he's a baller, okay? Put that headband on. There's a ball loose. You're going to dive for it. You're going to hit a big shot, come up with a big steal, which you've done multiple times. What is it about this sort of dual personality you have off the court, nice and clean? You look like you could go out on, hit 18. You get on that court, different guy.
Yeah, well, I will say I do love golf. I almost was a college golfer.
Okay.
And it's just a fun thing I do outside of basketball now. I'm a lot more chill off the court, I'll say, but yeah, when we get between those lines, there's just a fire within me that I'm going to get every loose ball. I'm going to make those plays that fires up the crowd. My favorite thing is just the appreciation I get from the Husker fans for playing that way. Coach's son that averages 4 points a game, people might be like, why is he out there? But our fans understand why, and I just want to help us win games.
I understand why, too. You're a dog, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
For both of you guys, I finished last place in this league, and it's something I reminded my teammates of every single day throughout the offseason. How much did you guys talk about missing the Big Ten tournament this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it stung, and our whole thing this year is just we want to be that team that gets that monkey off our back and get that tournament win, and we're taking it day by day, but it really stung to finish with 5 straight losses last year. We were really, really up and down, and our goal is to battle through adversity much better than last year so we can kind of stay more steady the whole season.
And here's what's not going to happen this season. No team is going to miss the Big Ten men's basketball tournament because all 18 are going. It will start on Tuesday. Now, the women, they're still keeping with 15. The men, all 18. So what happened last season to these guys will not happen this season. When we come back,